Hey everybody. Hey. Oh, Ruby, I was waiting for the transcript. I just got the transcript and I wanted to go over some things within the transcript. That's why I was taking a little longer to come out because I wanted to give you guys some, visual of what was going on, but I wanted to tell you guys this case is very interesting. It's very interesting. Remember, I told you guys it's very heavy. This case is very heavy. There's a lot of demonic um, feeling. Okay, I think it's because of this. I don't know. I don't know if it's because of the sex part, the deviancy of the sex, or what it is, but it is a very heavy case. You got all kinds of stuff going on, all kind of craziness, right? But I wanted to tell you some of the reactions that was going on in the court as far with the jurors and things like that. Um this the testimony of Jane. Oh, by the way, you guys know tomorrow the judge is going to make a decision in regarding to whoever leaked Jane's name or anything. The marshal is investigating, and there is going to be something done about it. So everybody's on pins and needles. And then somebody was reached out to me regarding inner city press. I don't know anything about what's going on, or if anything happened to him. Hopefully nothing happened. But people was reaching out to me asking me because they normally get his tweets, and his tweets stop at a certain point. So I don't know if anything happened to him. So I really don't know. I really don't know. Okay. Please don't put anything about Jane in here. I don't want to hear nothing about no baby daddy. Please, guys, let's keep it in, because the marshals are looking at people's channel, and if anybody says anything out of the out of the way, they're taking account of that too. So please be mindful. Don't put anything in my chat. Don't put anything in baby daddy. Don't put nothing in my chat. Nothing. And mods delete any message from anybody that if anybody that's putting anything in. Ruby, just delete your message, okay? Just delete it, because they're looking at everybody's channel. They're looking at anybody that's in the courtroom. They're looking at the channel. So please be mindful. Please be mindful. Mods, where's my mods? I don't have any mods up in here. I need to revamp my whole channel. Because I don't have the only person in here working is Tracy. Why Tracy's the only mod in here? Okay. Kenzie, you in here. You in here. Let's see who else is in here. Tracy and Kenzie. Oh, Inner Beauty is here. Pretty Chick is here. Okay. Okay, Miss Richards is here. Okay. Miss Richards is here. Okay. I'm gonna have to revamp my mods and stuff like that. You mean that? You mean on the other channel? What do you mean? Yes, I'm here. Okay, Kenzie's here. I want to be. Oh, I'm getting rid of mods. I'm not adding any. I'm getting rid of mods. I'm gonna make my mods thing streamline a little bit. So the ones that's been here working is the ones I'm gonna keep. All the ones that's not working, I'm gonna just get rid of mods now, because it's which channel you want me on. I don't know which channel is which. I just need mods on both channel. If you find yourself over, hey T Mac. Um, okay, let's see something. All right. Thank you, Miss Richard. I'm not gonna have a lot of mods. I'm gonna get rid of some mods. Yeah, I got too many mods. I gotta get rid of some mods. Um, I'm gonna stick with the ones that's in the that be on the channel. Um, Majority of the time. Hold on a second. Let me see something. Hold on. All right. Let me go ahead and put the link in here. All right. I am still being hold up. I was first one like and comments will be what happened to my first comment, young lady. I don't know what happened to your comment. Did somebody delete your comment? I didn't see anybody deleting any comment. I don't know. I don't know what happened to your comment, Tim. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go restrict some more. I think I restricted the name. Hold on a second. Let me go see. Hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some restriction of the name and stuff like that because it's getting a little bit challenging. It's getting a little bit challenging. I have to do it later on. Yeah, I'm gonna block the name out of my Western name. I'm gonna have to do that because the only way I'm gonna stop people from putting these people name in there. What the heck is going on here? I don't even know what the heck is going on here. All right, sorry about that. I'm waiting for Sylvia. You doing okay? You sound I know I'm not exhausted. I'm trying to stop these folks from putting that lady's name in here. I don't want nobody putting that lady name in here at all. Kenzie, just make sure you see that. Check it out. I don't understand what's going on here. Hold on a second, y'all. There's some stuff going on here. Hold on. What in the world is happening here? I don't know what the heck is going on with my channel here. Just hold on a second, y'all. Golly, stuff going on here. Stuff is going on here. Okay, there we go. All right, hold on a second. My readers are coming in here and they're trying to help a sister out. Okay, I think I got it, y'all. Sorry about that. We had problems up in here. Treadmill games. Hey, CMT, hello. Plant lady, hello. Yep. Up. Yep. Doing fine. Miss Richard, I got some news for you. I'll fill you in. I filled Coco in already about it, but I'll fill you in. Trying to wait for my folks to come on in. We're not gonna read the whole transcript. We're just gonna go where she went off on Miss Greco. Yes, Miss Richard. You already know. Hey, Miss Richard got got on free today. Got on free for real. Got on free. Yep. Gave the number out yesterday. Got on free today. But that's only one way free. Not round trip. All right. Is my people coming in or what? Where's my people coming in? Where are they at? Hold on a second, y'all. I'm trying to get them to get in. They get the butt in here. Let me put it in here just in case. Yeah. Yeah, I got on there free. Oh look, I try to put and give my pass, my little, how the ticket they give you a ticket to pay on the bus. And I try to give it to him and he just like pushed my hands away. So I said, all right now. Okay now, Sylvia. Okay, okay. Yeah, I gave the number yesterday and I got free on the bus today. Mm, mm, mm. Sure did, y'all. Sure did. Oh, he touched your going to be holding. You know what? Oh, I gotta give a shout out to my daughter's co-worker. She started watching the channel and she loves our travel in the morning. She loves the fun stuff that we do. So shout out to Dallas's co-worker. I can't give out your name, but shout out to Dallas's co-worker. She's my new subscriber and she says she loves watching the fun stuff, you know. She loves the travel. She says she loves the content. She says she don't miss it at all. Don't miss nothing. But the Diddy stuff is kind of deep for her. So, but she liked the stuff that we know, the stuff that we thought it was not fun. So shout out to Dallas's coworker. Hi, Dallas's coworker. Hi, Dallas. She likes stuff like that, especially like stuff that we're talking about, like the bus driver. Oh, I gotta tell y'all, there's some more stuff I need to tell y'all what happened on the bus driver. I'm trying to wait for my folks to come in so that we can read the part that where the Jane went off on was like kind of got snappy. And when she went snappy, the jurors like, whoa, one juror like taken back of what she did because she was like about that bag part. Ooh, she got snappy with Miss Greco. Great, not Greco. Yeah. I don't know how to say it. Y'all know I be messing up people's name. Y'all know that, right? Plant lady, I just hate to. Oh, he can't ride his motorcycle. Is it permanent thing? You're getting a reserved seat on the bus now. Kenzie, I'm in the front every day. Every day I'm in the front seat. Oh man, y'all, I gotta tell y'all so much. I told you about the lady that gets on that, I think that she must have had a thing for him because he was on the bus talking to me today, right? Where's my people at? Where you at? So I don't have to keep going into the story. Well, I got on the bus, right? And he was kind of a little tardy. So I said, hey, you got stuck in traffic? And he was like, no, the bus had broken down. And so he went into the station and got a new bus, right? So while he was talking to me, there's this lady that I think she kind of like him. Remember I told you it was a lady that touched his hand when she was getting off the bus. Remember that lady? Well, today she had an attitude. She got on the bus and she didn't even speak to him. She didn't even speak to him when she got off either. Come on, where is my people at? What in the world? They I can't, you know what? Good help is so hard to find, y'all. Good help is so hard to find. No, I didn't take the lady, man. Look, I'm only here temporary. Like Miss Richards said, I'm only here temporary, you know? I'm only here temporary. But she had an attitude. I think because he was late. And he was like, he said, you don't know what could have happened, what happened to him, and people are so rude. And so I finally told him, I said, you know what, you talking about people so rude. I said, you were so mean to me when I first got on your Um, and he was like, "That's because," he said, "That's because I didn't know you. I thought you was just like the rest of these but customers getting on this bus, and a lot of them are rude, and you get the remnant of what they left on me." He says, "I'm not that type of person. I'm very friendly, very kind." He said, "I said, well, you were mean to me, but I didn't take it personal." Hey, Coco. Where these folks at, y'all? Hold on, let me call her. Let me find out where these people at. Where they at? Hold on, hold on. Oh, she said, I don't know. I don't have the. You do have the link. Hold on, ma'am. Check. I emailed you the link. And when I press on it, it doesn't open. It doesn't. Okay, let me go redo it. Send it to you in the email part. Hold on. Oh, you listening to me? Oh, you on the thing watching me? Bye. I have to hang up with her because she listening to me. Okay, here we go. My folks are not. Let me send this one. They sitting there listening to me, y'all, watching my live instead of hitting the link and getting their butt up on here. Hey, Kim. Good evening, Kim. Thank you for the cash app. Appreciate it, sis. Thank you so much. And she wanted to her bus chronicle. Yeah, I got to do my bus chronicle. There she go. May May.
Hi.
Hi, I heard you playing it in the background. Yeah,
I'm here. The first link didn't work.
it didn't. It was the same link. It's just that it was on the subject part,
Okay.
and maybe that's why I got to keep it in the body.
Okay.
I was waiting for Tiara. I don't know what's up with her. Let's see, where's she at? Uh, oh my God.
You know what page so I could be getting it while she's coming on?
We're gonna start on page. Let's see. We're gonna start on page. We're not gonna start from the beginning. Man,
Okay.
you come on. I am live. I send you the link. Check your email. Lord have mercy. We can't get no good help on here. Huh? Okay. Okay, bye. She going off on me, y'all, and the thing is already in there. Lord have mercy. He said, my apologies. Is that my girl? The voice? Yes, Jay, it's me. Jay, where you been? Where have you been, Jay? You deserted me. You left me, Jay. I have to go to another now because you left me.
You said not from the beginning. What page?
I'm sorry. We're on page, let's see. We're gonna be on page 5,336.
Okay. And who do you want me to read?
I want you to be who do you want to be? You want to be Jane or you want to be or you
I'll
want
be Jane.
to okay. And she'll be Tinny. Um I've been at work. Oh, you've been working hard for that money. I've been working hard for that money. So hard for that money. You better treat her right. Um, okay, we're waiting for my girl, Tiara. She is getting ready to come on in. And we're not reading all of this tonight because you guys know I have to get up in the morning, even though we have late court. I have to get up in the morning because I'm taking the bus the same time because I'm going to go to this other court. Remember, did y'all hear about a guy who was a cryptocurrency person, and he kidnapped somebody and tortured the guy for days and days? Well, I'm going.
Oh my goodness.
The arraignment is tomorrow in the court, in a different court. So I'm gonna go look at that, listen to that tomorrow. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do tomorrow, Miss Richard. And then you guys, y'all know I will be doing there's another case in Atlanta that I'm gonna be doing with this rapper, his mom, accused of S trafficking. So I'm gonna be doing that on in Atlanta when I go back home. Yeah, I heard Harvey is about to get a mistrial because it's a hung jury. Yeah, I heard that too. Oh Lord, the kids are playing around. Okay, yeah, I apologize. Let's get this on the screen here. Let's go look at this part of the screen. At least we'll have this up for you guys to look at. We're waiting for her. All right. Yeah, I am still being shadow banned. You guys probably might need to subscribe and unsubscribe, subscribe back because my channels are jacked up. They're really trying to hurt your girl. They're really trying to hurt her. You miss Kobe, plant lady? I went and got Kobe a little outfit because his birthday coming up. So, Mimi, did you check your email? Did you check your email, Mimi? I tell you, good help is hard to find around this joint. I'm still waiting for Tiara. She still ain't get here yet. All right, this is getting outrageous. Can't get no good help around this joint. And y'all be wondering why I don't go on, right? What is up with this lady? Hold on, let me call Tiara. She's not answering her phone. All right, y'all. I tried, y'all. Trying. Well, let's go ahead and continue our chronicles. Can you start until she comes, D Reese? D Reese said, look, ma'am, you need to go ahead on and get started. No, because you already know me. I'm going to be sleeping. You already know me, so don't even try it. I'm real, y'all. I ain't memorized. I ain't fake. I ain't. Mm-mm. Y'all gonna be mad because I'll be like passed out. Kim, Jay wants to know if you have your own channel. Jay wants to know if you have your own channel, Kim. Okay, I don't know what's going on with what's the name? My, can you hear me?
Yes.
I think they want you to get started reading because
Okay.
you got the page right.
Mm-hmm.
Go to she go. She here now.
Okay.
Tiara, we on page 53, 56,
You said 36.
36. I'm sorry.
Okay,
50. No, 53, 56, not 36, ma'am.
Okay.
okay. 1 second.
53, 56. 53, 56.
Got it.
All right. I'm gonna hey Gina. Thank you, Gina. Okay, guys, y'all ready?
No, not. Mm-mm.
Ladies, y'all ready?
No, ma'am.
Okay, you're not ready, yo. Thank you, Jay. Thanks for your hard work and efforts to bring us the real. You're welcome. Look, I just wanted to tell you guys the jurors, bless you, baby sneezing. The jurors were just like, really, well, today, the jurors don't do too much reaction anymore like they used to in the beginning. I don't know if since certain bloggers might have made a comment that they kind of like don't say much anymore, but today there was definitely reactions from them, especially when the judge had to basically chastise Jane because Jane was getting snappy with the attorney today, man. She was snappy. She was like, "Here,
She was snappy with the defense.
yeah, she was very snappy. She went, when what's name asked her about the bag that Diddy bought her, she was like, she asked her how much it cost. She asked her, "Do you have one?" And she was getting stanky instead of answering the question. Hey, Miss Sylvia, I was packing and was trying to get to you. Hey, Sam, where you going? Where you going, young lady? Are you ladies ready now?
Yep.
Yeah, Tiara, you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, y'all. Without further ado, I apologize for the delay. The ladies are ready to rock and roll, starting at page 53, 56. And Miss Comey, I will be Miss Comey for a second. Um, I agree, Your Honor. And then the judge says 165 will be admitted. Governor Exhibit will E 165 receive in evidence.
Let let's play. So is this Turks or Bahamas?
This is Turks.
And this is one of the videos that you say you like to take of Mr. Combs when you were together.
Yes.
And you're really enjoying your time on the beach there, right?
Yes.
Okay. And at the end of this trip, I think you testified that, or maybe you didn't, that he gave you bags and shoes and a bracelet and money. Do you remember that?
I believe it was before this trip. Kind of, I think around the first time that we went to dinner, that Miami, that 5 day Miami trip, there was shoes, bags, and bracelets.
What was the bracelet?
It said LOVE.
Hello? Hello?
You were here.
Oh, okay. It went out on my screen. And did you pack that out?
Yeah, I sent him a picture of it and he said to get it.
So then he got you that bracelet.
Yes,
Then how many shoes did you get?
I think it was like one pair of shoes, one bag,
What was the bag?
Bottega.
Uh-oh.
And you were happy with those gifts, right?
Yes,
And at this time, when you guys were in Turks and the Bahamas, and even before, he had told you that he was seeing many women, right?
yes,
Is that something he was upfront with you about from the beginning?
yes.
What did he tell you about seeing many women?
He just expressed to me that he was dating. He was just dating.
And what term did he use to describe his dating life?
Polyamorous.
And you were okay with that?
I was okay with dating him, yes, and knowing that, yes.
You didn't exactly love that he had multiple other girlfriends, right?
At first, it wasn't something that I minded. It was, I was just getting to know him too. But then later on, it, you know, as emotions grew deeper and feelings grew deeper, then of course,
Yeah, because you consider him your partner and your lover, right?
yes,
And as you got some more and more in love with him, it was harder that he had a lot of other girlfriends, right?
what was hard for me was the imbalance in treatment. When I walked into this relationship, I thought that, he was just evenly dating. And then, as many more years passed, then, you know, it was definitely difficult when there became a relationship that just publicly very looked like a monogamous committed relationship. And that I didn't sign up for.
I'll get to the relation. I know what you're talking about. I'll get to that in a little bit. But do you remember after your Turks and Caicos trip, Caicos trip, he had another girl fly in on a trip that he was on?
I believe when I left, you're talking about when I left Bahamas?
That's right.
Yes. And then he flew in a couple more girls.
That was something that even then, even though you weren't as deep in love with him as maybe later in other years, bothered you, right?
Yeah, it was definitely something new to see. It was shocking even then.
Even then, because you had just had kind of a wonderful 20 days with him, right?
Yes.
And he was, from your perspective, so easily able to shift to another girl.
Yes.
And that hurt your feelings.
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember calling that woman some insults?
Unfortunately.
What kind of names would you call her?
And I feel very badly about this.
I understand.
And I really do love women. I Back in the day, I was very colorful with my words. I would say that I called them a hoe or I think that was a term I probably used most often.
Did you ever use like brother brother escort, anything like that.
All of those ugly things, yes.
But because you were pretty jealous, right?
I was, yeah, I really was feeling my man and I wanted him to be mine.
Because he's your lover.
Yes,
Okay. So then you talked about, later on in the relationship, he had a public relationship that looked from the outside to be a monogamous one. And that was really hurtful, right?
that was hard. Yeah,
That was really hard. So that was with someone named Young Miami or Carisha, right?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
yes,
And he started dating her after you.
yes.
And how long after you?
Probably, I don't really know, maybe 6 months to a year later.
Yep. And he was really public in that relationship.
Yes,
And your relationship, by contrast, was very private, right?
yes,
And so he would put her on Instagram, right?
yes,
And she would put him on her Instagram, right?
yes,
And that was really hurtful.
yes. That was hard, hard to watch.
And that was something that you, for lack of a better term, fought over for a long time in your relationship once he started dating her.
Yeah, it was definitely nothing. It was definitely not something that I signed up for. I didn't sign up to date a man that was in a public relationship.
And you told him that, right?
Yes,
And then he was also sometimes with his ex, Gina, right?
yes,
And that will bother you too, right?
yes,
And someone named Jesse.
yes.
Dang.
I know.
And that was one of the people that you talked about who he took to London and he took to Wyoming, right?
Yes,
And that was hurtful, right?
yes,
They got to go on those trips
yes,
with Carisha or Young Miami when he put her out in public. He was also kind of showering her with gifts very publicly, right?
yes,
Like you had seen that he had gotten her a Maybach, right?
yeah.
And you were really upset about that because you weren't getting the same type of gifts.
Mm, probably, yes,
And then you asked for a Van Cleef necklace and bracelet, right?
yes,
And so that he got that for you, right?
yes,
Because you wanted, as you said, it was the imbalance of a relationship. And you wanted something really nice as well.
yes,
So we talked a little bit about your jealousy. But would you also say that Mr. Combs was very jealous?
yes,
Very possessive?
yes,
Can you explain? You talked about Bear yesterday, and that was somebody who gave you 9,000 in about January of 2024, right?
yes.
And you hadn't even met this person, right?
I had met him many years ago.
But you didn't meet. I guess you didn't meet him in the January 2024 time period when he gave you that $9,000, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So when Mr. Combs found out about this, he was extremely jealous, right?
Yes,
And he was kind of going over and over and over again in his mind
yes. He was rumor rating.
because he didn't want his women to be with another guy, and in his mind, you were with another guy.
Yes,
Objection.
You weren't with Bear, right?
I was not with Bear.
But in his mind, you thought that he thought that, right?
Objection. That's a stain.
It's a confusing question. He was very jealous of the Bear situation, right?
Objection. That's the stain.
Did you perceive him as being very jealous of Bear when he found out about the $9,000? The $9,000?
Yes, I perceived him to be very jealous about that.
Okay. You spoke when you saw Mr. Combs get those meet the dealer, for lack of a better term, in Miami in November, and then you had took started taking the ecstasy in Turks and Caicos in 2021. You knew that Mr. Combs would use a lot of drugs, right?
Objection to form. It's overruled.
At that point, I didn't really know how much he consumed drugs, but I know that he consumed them. I didn't know how, like, the quantity or anything.
Okay, you just knew that he consumed them.
Yes,
Do you remember telling the government that after just about 2 to 3 dates, you already thought that he was sad, depressive, and had shaky hands?
yes. It was actually on our second date, on our way to Turks when I was on the plane. I was facing him and I could just see his eyes and I could just see his hands and his teeth. And I could tell that he wasn't taking very good care of himself. Maybe on the surface, but not internally.
What about his eyes made you feel that way?
I felt that he was developing jaundice. I felt that his gums were gray, probably from drug use. And I felt that his hands were shaky, probably from over consuming alcohol.
Do you remember speaking to him about wanting him to go to rehab when you initially started dating?
Yes, absolutely.
What did you tell him?
I told him that we should actually take a trip to Thailand. I know of a rehabilitation center that my friend's parents go to that's really nice. And it's like a 30-day program.
And what was his reaction, if any, to that?
He was like, "What the hell? You think I need rehab?"
And what did you tell him?
I said, "Well, yeah. Like, why not? Like, look at you."
At what point in the relationship? Was this before Turks? Was it after Turks that you told him that?
I believe it was probably during Turks.
So when you said, look at you,
Well, this was a faint memory,
okay,
but we have a lot of jokey banter, so I don't know.
is it fair to say you wanted him to be a lot healthier?
Definitely.
And you are pretty healthy, right? You work out,
Yes.
you eat well,
Yes.
you eat your fruits and vegetables.
Yes.
And so you wanted him to work out and to eat well, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And you drink tea, is that fair?
Yes.
And you wanted him to drink tea instead of coffee, perhaps.
Yes.
And you wanted him to focus on the good parts of bettering himself, right?
Absolutely.
That's part of why you wanted him to go to the rehab as well.
Yes.
And so you felt at the beginning that he was a drug addict, right?
I felt that in the beginning, I didn't really know how to label it. I just felt that I encountered somebody that was overdoing the partying.
And is that because, for example, in Turks, he was taking ecstasy almost every day?
I would say, in that time, I would say that he was more celebratory. But then as our relationship continued, I noticed a very strong pattern. And I still didn't even really label it as a drug addict. I didn't now. Now I would say that, but that I just would say that he was a really big party guy.
Okay. Do you remember saying that your friend dated Frank, the butler,
Yes,
and that Frank had indicated if you would recommend a certain health protocol, he would follow it for a few days?
yes,
So you would recommend those protocols to him.
yes.
What kind of protocols would you recommend?
I would recommend just like things for his digestive system. I would recommend other types of sleep aids so that he could stop consuming the really hardcore sleep aids. I would just try to recommend anything for him that didn't rupture just like his natural well being.
And you knew that Mr. Combs was also on antidepressants, right?
Later on, I found that out. Yes, maybe close to the end, a little bit that they were actually antidepressants.
Do you remember telling the government that he couldn't stop cold turkey?
Yes,
Right. And you wanted to get him off of the Xanax and the antidepressants and the Prozac and all of those prescriptions, right?
yes. As you just listed them, I didn't even know a lot of that. But yes, He was in a lot of things, and I just wanted him to get back into his natural form, in his like natural state.
Miss Gregos, when you get to a good spot, why don't you take a break?
Can I just ask 3 more questions?
Of course.
You thought that he couldn't really handle the war in his mind.
Have I said that before? Is that
Do you remember saying that he couldn't handle the war in his mind?
those sound like my words? Yes.
And do you remember even one time during a hotel night, you spoke to him about wanting to get ketamine therapy?
Oh yes. He mentioned that he wanted to do ketamine therapy.
And you thought that that may help him with his depression.
Actually, he was telling me about the ketamine therapy and all this research that he found out about it. And he was like telling me about it, what it was.
And is that something that you were encouraging also?
I highly doubt it. Yeah.
Okay. But he was telling you that he wanted to get ketamine therapy and do the research on it, right?
Yes.
Your
Your
Honor,
Honor, Your Honor, I could stop right here.
will take a 15-minute break and come back. All rise. Okay, let's go. All right, back from lunch. A break. I mean, not lunch. I'm sure Miss Comey would you I'm sorry. I'm sure Miss Comey told you this, but we're not able to have any conversation with the government.
Thank you. Am I the witness they're talking about?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Miss Comey, anything to raise before we take our break?
No,
No, thank you, Your Honor. Anything from Miss Greco?
no, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, we'll come back in 15 minutes.
We were just discussing, Your Honor. I think we could stop at 3 o'clock today. I know tomorrow's also a short day, and then I think it would still give me sufficient time in all of Thursday if I need it. I'm seeing a nod from the front, so
All right. I'm sorry, y'all.
uh,
Your Honor, is that me? Yeah,
mhm.
Your Honor. We defer Miss Greg, y'all know her name, Miss G, as long as I have a little bit of time to read for redirect. Very brief redirect on Thursday, and this witness can make her flight. We would love to end early today. So it's up to you, Miss G. But do you think you will be able to complete your cross examination by Thursday? Because I'm prepared to be here until 5. But if you would like to utilize that time for anything else, or you think that would be given what you have, you'll be able to complete within the time you've indicated, then that's certainly fine.
Then let's just check again at the lunch break. But I do think I could complete it by Thursday. It seems like that.
Very good. So I have no issues with that.
Okay, great.
Let's bring the witness back as if we can. Miss G, you may proceed when ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Hi again, Jane.
Hi, Miss Jericho's. Wait, Garagos?
It's a hard one. When we just ended, we were talking about how he had wanted to get ketamine therapy. I'll just shift for a second. I think you said earlier that taking care of Mr. Combs was one of your favorite parts of the relationship, right?
Yes.
And you love that quality time with him, right?
Yes.
And so after these hotel nights or times when you would just go over to his house on Mapleton and you could be in his bedroom with him, would you have quality time with him during those times?
Yes.
Can you explain what you said you got to watch Dateline, I think it was,
Yes.
and that was his favorite show.
Yes.
Would you watch other movies?
Every once in a while, he'd put on something different, maybe.
And then we also talked about your house before the break. And there were times that he came over to your house where you would have drinks and hang out and do a movie night, right?
He would come over, and it was usually lead to a majority of the time one of those nights.
But there were times where it wouldn't be one of these nights, right?
I can only recall maybe like once.
Do you remember telling the government that there were at least two times where he, after you moved in, you would have drinks, hang out, and do a movie night?
Maybe two.
Okay. And you also spoke yesterday about a time where he told you he was going to have surgery and you felt really bad, right?
Yes.
And did he have one surgery or more than one surgery throughout your relationship with him?
I believe it was one surgery.
And after that surgery, did you go to his home and when he had downtime, assist him and take care of him and make sure he was comfortable?
Yes.
And you assisted him with crutches
Yes.
and you just made sure that he wasn't in pain and that he was okay, right?
Yes.
And you liked that quality time with him, right?
Yes.
Because he was your partner and your lover and you wanted to take care of him, right?
Yes.
And those times with him were sacred to you.
Yes, they were.
And you really wanted to please him, right?
Yes.
You wanted him to be happy.
Yes.
You mentioned a few times on direct examination that there were times that he felt bored or you thought he felt bored. You would mention having an entertainer come, right?
In that instance,
In that one instance where he seemed bored
yeah.
because you wanted him to be excited and feel fulfilled, right?
Yes.
Do you remember telling the government that you deeply loved him and enjoyed just about every minute with him during hotel nights?
I, yeah, during hotel nights, the portion of me and him, yes, I love that part of me and him.
And can you just explain that a little bit more with that part? And that's after a round would be done or after all the entertainers or one or two of the entertainers would leave and it was just time together.
I would say when we initially first meet at the hotel, we would have some alone time, and that was one favorite part. And then the next favorite part would then,
Let me stop you then. And then we'll go into it. How long would that alone time be?
I would say it could vary between 30 minutes to an hour, really just the time before an entertainer comes.
What would you do during that 30 minutes to an hour?
He would either just have drinks or start taking an ecstasy pill, or we would make love or halfway make love.
Okay. And there will be drinks set up like champagne and other types of alcohol or and just normal beverages too, non-alcoholic.
Yes,
And then you would like that time to connect with him, right?
yes,
And so that could last for like 30 to an hour, right?
yes.
But it could also last longer than that, right?
At times it has, yeah.
I interrupted you when you were about to get to the next part.
Oh, just that whenever it was just the moments that we would start making love was the moments that I really enjoyed in these nights with him.
And then how long after an entertainer would leave did you guys then end up going to his home either in Bel Air or Miami?
I would say after one of these nights, I guess we would just be together ourselves. And we would,
Ladies, can you take over?
Hmm.
mhm.
Thank you.
And we would then have that time to just have for each other. And then we would go to one of the residences.
Would you guys during this time together? I know you say he was really tired, but were you guys able to talk and express feelings to one another?
During before we would go to the residences or after.
After?
After, I would say yes. Sometimes we would even continue.
And then what about before?
Before, it would be like ending together in a hotel and then moving to a residence. Just me and him. And then we would have
Time together.
that time together.
Do you remember telling the government that during these nights he was really good about being with you and being in your head and giving you the attention that you craved during these nights?
Yes,
And that he would cater to you?
yes.
How would he cater to you?
Mm, I guess it was just the attention and the affection.
And that he would give you the compliments that you wanted while in those rooms?
Yes.
Did he give you affection outside of the rooms?
In what context do you mean?
You enjoyed his affection, right?
Yes.
And so even when there were times that he came to your house and that there wouldn't be men there or entertainers, he gave you affection as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it on a heightened level during these nights?
It was not like that affection. He's not that affectionate.
He's more larger than life and expiring, but not as affectionate when it's not during these nights.
I would say he's the most affectionate during these nights.
Okay, got it. You testified that by about November of 2021, you realized that this was just becoming the dynamic of your relationship, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that, do you remember telling the government that you accepted the dynamic at that time because you just wanted any amount of time with him?
I accepted the dynamic as far as that's a little fuzzy for me, I guess. I, yeah, I guess I kind of knew what I was seeing. I guess I kind of knew what I was seeing. This was becoming, and I was already hooked on to love. And I just kind of was going with it.
Okay. And do you remember telling the government in one of your meetings with them that you felt that you couldn't say no because you wanted to prove yourself and to make him happy and to be the one he desired?
Yes.
And why is that?
Why? Because I loved him very much. And I liked making him happy, and I liked to make him happy and satisfy him.
And you perceived these nights as things that could satisfy him, right?
I knew that this is what he liked. Yes.
Okay. Do you remember telling the government that he would say that you guys didn't have to do anything and that he didn't need these nights and that he would be defensive whenever you brought up his feelings?
Yes.
Okay. And that when he would tell you he didn't need these, you knew deep down that he did.
Yes.
Okay. And he knew when you would leave or have a break with him, he knew how to make you feel better. Objection.
Sustain.
Do you remember telling the government that he knew how to make you feel better? Objection.
I think you just need to rephrase the question.
Okay, thanks, Your Honor. Do you remember that there were times where you would voice something to him and that he knew how to get to you, how to get you to come back, essentially? Objection. Vague and time frame. All right. Starting in August of 2023, do you remember voicing certain things to him and he would be defensive in response? Objection.
Sustain.
All right. Let me just move on. Do you remember telling the government that Combs was driven by desires and you were driven by your love of him? Objection.
Overruled. Driven by his desires is the more like driven by.
If you don't remember, it's fine. Do you remember saying you were driven by your love of him?
Oh, yes.
Okay. All right. I want to go back to the beginning of the relationship. You've talked a lot about red lights and oil and ecstasy during these nights. Before you had your first hotel night with him in May of 2021, would he use red lights and oil outside of that first hotel night?
Yes, in our relationship, he would have them also at his residence.
Okay. So this was not something that was exclusively used for hotel nights.
Right.
Okay. After the first time that you met him and Don, or that you met Don, I should say, in May of 2021, did you start doing research on this lifestyle?
In the middle of our relationship, I think in maybe 2022, I came upon a word called, because I was just trying to figure out my relationship. I came upon a word that was called a cuck, a cuck holder, a
And what
cuck holder.
and what is that?
That is a man who is in a relationship with a woman and he's turned on watching his woman have sex with other men.
And so you came upon that word while researching what was going on in your relationship.
That's correct.
Okay. And so is that was that word, so what did that word mean to you when you were researching it? What did that mean to you?
That word meant to me, well, I was just trying to understand what was going on. So I guess what did that word mean to me? I was just like, this is spot on.
Okay. And you were researching what a cuck is.
Yes.
And so you learned what you just said the definition was. What else did you learn about this?
I was just trying to kind of deep dive on all the reasons why they had derived so much pleasure from watching their women be with other men.
And what effect did they have on you?
It gave me more of an understanding.
And what were some of those reasons? Objection. I'm not sure if it's calling for hearsay, Your Honor. Effect on the listener, Your Honor.
I don't think the question is calling for hearsay, but maybe you can rephrase the question to avoid objection.
I think my question was, what effect did it have on you? And I think that would,
Well, that wasn't the question, but why don't we get a fresh question and we'll see if there's an objection.
okay. What was your understanding? You said that it helped you get an understanding. What was your, how did it help you get an understanding?
I just wanted to know why my partner wanted so many of these nights and why and what was driving him. I was just trying to find an understanding of it and he wasn't vocal about it.
And so, what was your understanding? And what was your understanding that you learned?
I mean, there was a multiple list of reasons. One of them was that the cuck derives pleasure seeing his woman receive pleasure from the other men and a few other things.
What were some of the other things? I'm going to object at this point.
That's overruled. Some of the other things were the cucks could also have a real curiosity that they're too ashamed to experience themselves. And so they use the woman to venture out in this curiosity without actually doing that act itself.
And did you, mm, and did you ever say that he was using the words voyeurism in the wrong way? Did you learn? Actually, let me strike that. Did you ever learn about the word voyeurism?
I didn't dive too deep on that word, but he liked to use the words voyeurism and escapism.
And did you ever research, if you did, the word voyeurism or escapism?
No, I think I pretty much, I had more of a, I would use the word cuck for him more so.
Okay. And so when you guys started these hotel nights and an entertainer would come, did he? I think you said that the first 30 minutes to an hour is just you and him time, time that you cherish, right?
Yes, Mimi.
Can y'all hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. Okay. And so when you guys started these hotel nights and the entertainer would come, did he? I think you said that the first 30 minutes to an hour is just you and him time, time that you cherish, right?
Yes.
And then the entertainer would come, right?
Yes.
Did you spend and did he spend time talking and laughing with the entertainer?
Yes.
I think you had mentioned some of them you grew fond of, like Paul.
Yes.
And so you guys would talk and laugh with that person.
Yes.
And so would you guys have conversations?
Yes.
How long did that last?
Conversations?
Yeah, before the sexual activity or the foreplay. I think you mentioned, or even the time where you would dance or pour oil on yourself. How long would the talking and just the conversations last?
Not too long. Maybe like 15, 20 minutes.
And what kind of questions and conversations would you have?
I would just strike up like small conversation, asking them how they're doing and what's been new with them, etc.
And then at that point, would you already be in the lingerie and the heels?
Yes.
Would you change into that right when you got into the room or at what point?
I would change as soon as I got to the hotel room.
Okay. And how long would I think we talked about a pattern. And so I'm just asking generally between I'll do what Miss Comey did. Between May of 2021 and October of 2023. How long would the time when you were in your lingerie and heels and you would be dancing? How long did that period last?
Dancing?
Yes.
I would say I would dance for like maybe 15 to 20 minutes also.
Would you guys play music?
Yes.
Did you have a playlist that you liked?
Yes.
Okay. And you spoke on direct how you were really good at making everybody think that you wanted to be there, right?
Yes.
And you were very sweet to the entertainers.
Yes.
You would ask them questions about themselves.
Yes.
You asked Mr. Combs about himself, right?
Yes.
And you guys were all laughing and joking and talking to one another, right?
Yes.
And then you talked about how there would be foreplay and fantasy talk for hours and hours and hours, right?
Yes.
And I think you testified that that was that was your perceived to be Mr. Combs' favorite part of the night.
Yes.
And then you said the actual act of the sex was a lot shorter, right?
At times, it could vary. It would be shorter or longer. Some could last for a very, very long time.
Okay. So that was not that varied. The length of sex varied.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you talked about filming these. You were okay with it being filmed, right?
Yes.
And he said that they were just for you and him, right?
Yes.
You understood that he didn't want anybody else to have them either, right?
Yes.
And that was part of why you and him ended up getting your own phone for these, right?
Yes.
Because you wanted to make sure that nobody could get a hold of the recordings.
That's right.
Because as you said, it was easy to get into his phone, right?
Yes.
And you liked that you and Mr. Combs could watch these videos back and that he would get pleasure out of it, right?
I did not like that part. That was just a part of the relationship. But yeah.
You testified about a movie screen that you got him for his birthday in 2023, right?
Yes.
And you said that was to watch either pornography or to watch some of these videos, right?
Yes. Whatever he wanted to watch on it.
And you knew that one of the things he was going to watch on it was your videos, right?
Yes.
And you like making your partner happy.
I did.
And you knew that he would derive pleasure from watching these videos, right?
Yes.
And so you put on a good show for him in these videos because you knew he would watch them back, right?
Yes.
Okay. He was also very happy in these hotels, right?
Yes.
Okay. And charming. You said charming and loving.
Yes.
And would ask you and would ask you and would you ask him questions like Do you want me to do this or do you want me to do that when you were with these entertainers?
Yes,
And tell me why you did that.
just to turn him on.
And you knew the things that you could say during these nights that would turn him on.
Yes,
And you kind of set ground rules in these rooms. I think you talked about your ground rules were that no entertainers could use drugs, right?
yes.
And can you tell us a little bit about why?
I just didn't want to have a stranger be out of their mind in a very vulnerable environment with me.
And you also talked about condoms and how you wanted you asked twice for men to wear condoms, right?
I would say yes,
The first time we listened to that recording of Don, right?
yes.
And ultimately, after that, he was given a condom to wear, right?
In the very first time with Don, there was a condom that was giving. Yes,
Okay. You testified earlier that Sean decided when the hotel night would end early, right?
yes,
And that sometimes you would give him subtle cues when you wanted them to end.
yes,
And his response, you said, was let's end on a high note, right?
yes.
What did that mean to you?
It meant that he wanted more.
That he wanted to end on a high note meant that he wanted more?
Yes,
And what would you say in response to that?
I would just do it.
And you wouldn't stop it?
No,
Okay. There were a few instances that we talked about, and I'll just lead you through these quickly. Where you did voice that you wanted something to end, right?
yes.
And then he listened.
On some rare occasions, yes,
But did you remember telling the government that there were a few instances where you wanted a hotel night to end early and it would end?
yes,
Okay. And you said when you became more vocal about your feelings about this, he respected that, right?
yes,
Okay. So we looked at, and if we could just bring it up quickly, government exhibit 2A 634, which is in evidence. There was this individual, right?
yes,
All right, we could take that down. You said you were immediately repulsed by him, right?
yes.
And he did not look nice. He smelled.
Uh huh.
Just for the court reporter, you have to say yes or no.
Yes,
And you told Mr. Combs, I'm not attracted to him, right?
that's right.
And he said, are you sure? Basically, and then said no worries and dismissed the man, right?
And okay. No,
He didn't say no worries.
I was with the man for about, I would say, another hour or two, and it took some time. And Sean could see this is really what that this really wasn't. There was no chemistry. At that time, he was finally was like, okay,
Do you remember testifying that Mr. Combs said no worries?
yeah, like at the last hour or so of trying to get that going.
And it just didn't work and he left, right?
Yes,
Okay, and if we could bring up government exhibit 2A610, which is in evidence. This was another one of the individuals that you dismissed also, right?
yes,
All right, you could take that photo down. You told Mr. Combs you did not find this man attractive, right?
yes,
I think the word was repulsed
yes,
after two times. I think I cut you off. I just want to make sure the record is clear.
yes, I told him 2 times.
Okay, so you went out with him, Mr. Combs, into a different room first, right?
Yes,
And then you gave it another go.
yes,
And then you got him into the room again, right?
yes,
And you said, I am repulsed by this man.
yes,
And you said Mr. Combs seemed a little agitated, but then he let him go, right?
yes,
And then you talked about an Italian man in New York where there was also, you also dismissed him, right?
yes,
And that was the same New York trip that was September of 2023 that we discussed yesterday, right?
Yes.
That was the trip where you guys went to a lounge after you had landed.
Yes.
And while you were in air, Mr. Combs sent you a link to a Cowboys for Angel person, right?
Yes.
And you said that you felt so much anxiety on that plane flight, right?
I did.
And so then when you went into the Trump Hotel later that evening, this man was there, the Italian. You called him, right?
Yes.
But you did not want to participate with him, right?
Yeah.
And so after that happened, after you saw him and after you saw him, you dismissed him, right?
Yes.
And Mr. Combs said, "Okay,
Yes.
okay." Even though you thought he may be agitated, right?
Yes.
And then it was after that that you were feeling badly, and so you texted Cabral, right?
There was an unspoken kind of like, how you like, what's your plan B? What's the plan B? Like, what are we going to, I don't know. Like, how are you going to make this up? There was an undertone of that. And so
You just said it was unspoken.
there was a certain energy that there needed to be someone else there in the room. And so I took it upon myself to message Cabral.
So you felt an energy, but he didn't say it. He didn't say something, right?
Well, he would say things like, what's the plan B? Or what else? What else? Like, what else? So, me being just that I understand my partner, I knew that meant. I knew what that meant.
So this Italian man came to the Trump Hotel. This was the same person that he had texted you about, right?
Yes.
You were not attracted.
No.
You dismissed them,
After some time, yes.
and their energy and the undertone was there should be somebody else, right?
Yes.
And then you reached out to Cabral.
Yes.
All right. You also testified on direct examination about your teeth. Do you remember that?
Yes.
The government had asked you whether this was, I think, asked, this was right after the Turks trip, right?
After the Turks trip was when I got the teeth.
Yes.
Or which Turks trip?
After the second Turks trip in 2023.
I think so.
Okay.
Maybe.
And the government got up and said, questioned you and said that he did not like your teeth, right?
Yes.
Objection. I can rephrase.
All right.
Do you remember saying, do you remember testifying that it was because Mr. Combs did not like your teeth?
Yes.
Okay. You previously said that he was right and that you love your teeth now, right?
I do.
Okay. And from what you understand, are you familiar with people getting veneers? Is this bizarre behavior to get veneers? Objection.
Overrode. It's not bizarre behavior, no.
This was something you're okay with, right?
Yes.
And so you got them.
Yes.
Okay. If you could, what's admitted, put up A10453, government exhibit. All right. If you could go to page 15, please. I'm sorry, go to page 12. He says, so they give natural. I can't really see. So they give natural, right?
Yes.
What does that mean? They give natural.
It means around this time I probably got temporaries.
What does
Oh, I'm sorry.
what does the term mean they give? Could you explain for those of us who don't know what give
Yeah.
natural means?
He's just asking here if the veneers look natural.
Okay, because was it important that your teeth look natural and very good?
Yes.
And that was important to you too, right?
Yes.
Okay, and can you take this down? and you testified that you loved them, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then you talked about your nipple piercing that you got, right?
Yes.
And that Miss Karam has set up the appointment for you.
Yes.
And did she go with you?
No.
You went by yourself?
Yes.
And you made that decision to do that, right?
After my partner requested it, yes.
And then you made the decision to go, right?
Yes.
And you made the decision to get it done.
Yes.
And then you made the decision to take them out, right?
Yes.
Because it snagged and it hurt.
Yes.
Okay. We also talked a lot about ecstasy in the hotel rooms and otherwise. You were willing to do drugs with him, right? Even though that wasn't part of your daily occurrence.
My partner had drugs around and he would encourage me to take them, or he would already see me and be like, here.
And how old are you at this time?
I was,
35?
yep,
And when he would say here or when they were around, you would take them, right?
I would take them. Yes.
I think you've talked about several different types of drugs that you used while you were in your relationship with Mr. Combs. You said, for example, you tried ketamine, but you didn't like it, right?
Yes.
So you decided you weren't going to take ketamine anymore, right?
Right.
And then you talked about cocaine. You tried it maybe one or two times, I think you said,
Yes.
and you did not like cocaine, so you didn't take it.
Coke. That was like just around also too, but
So you had cocaine around, right?
yes.
But you decided after those two times that you took it that you did not like it.
Not really, no.
Okay, so you decided not to take it more.
Not right.
Okay, you talked about, but did you take ecstasy? And then we also heard about the liquid drug that you took that we talked about yesterday.
Yes.
And can you tell us why you preferred ecstasy over the other drugs?
I feel that the ecstasy made me feel extremely sexual and liberated, and it just helped me get through these nights with men as well.
You took ecstasy with Mr. Combs even when there weren't men there, right?
With Mr. Combs?
C. Yes. Sorry.
Yes, when I was with Mr. Combs, we would also take ecstasy. Just me and him as well on some occasions. Yes.
Okay. And so it was not only when you were in hotel nights or with other men that you would take ecstasy, right?
Yes.
Okay. And it made you feel liberated. Can you explain that?
Yes. It just got me out of my mind, not to think much and to just kind of focus in on the sexual energy and just being like really sexual and into the moment.
Okay. From your when you took ecstasy, Mr. Combs was doing it as well with you, right?
Yes.
From your perspective, how was Mr. Combs on ecstasy?
I felt that he was him. He was just happy, charismatic, just big energy, sexual, high.
I think you previously said that he wasn't in his normal life, or when he wasn't on ecstasy, he was perhaps maybe a little bit more aggressive.
Oh, I see. I feel like when I would see him before ecstasy, he would seem a bit agitated or just kind of stressed from the day. And I feel like once he took ecstasy, he was more upbeat, happy, in a good mood.
It softened him up.
Yes.
Was he more, did you observe him to be a little bit more creative on it?
Creative? Yes. I would say he would listen to music and have these good creative thoughts.
And how long, in your experience, would an ecstasy high last?
I would say I kind of had to, from one pill, we would break them up. At just various points in the night, I would say I would take like a little pill every 2 to 3 hours up until like the final kind of moment or whatever.
Okay. So how many? A small portion of one pill. Is that right?
Yeah.
So it's not like an entire pill, like that one that you took in Turcos or Caicos. It's a smaller portion of one pill.
It varied. I would take small, sometimes I would take big, a pill, and then sometimes it would be broken down. It was kind of very.
You talked that there were a couple of times at hotel nights where you cried. Do you remember that? There were two times in particular.
Yes,
And the first time you were on the bed and you cried, and he didn't know what was wrong, right?
yes.
And you wanted him to hold you and be there with you.
I just didn't want him to leave me after the type of night.
And then he didn't, right? He moved what he needed around.
Yes,
And he held you.
yes,
You testified that he sat with you and held on to you, right?
yes,
And you held on to him, right?
yes,
And he provided that support that you needed at that time, right?
yes.
Was he was also on ecstasy at that moment as well.
I believe so.
Okay. And then you talked about a second time in the middle of the relationship where you were in the shower with him. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Were you in the shower because first of all, why were you in the shower at that moment?
It was the end of everything that just happened, and I just started crying.
Were you taking a shower because you needed it because of the drugs? Or was it at the end of the night and you would always take a shower then?
It was the end of a hotel night, and I was taking a shower with him.
Okay. And do you remember testifying that you had spotty memories of this incident?
Yes,
And that his response when you started crying was he was too high and he couldn't see this, right?
yes.
So he was also on drugs at the same moment as well, right?
He said, "You're going to ruin my high." Like, don't cry.
Can't see this?
Yes,
Okay. And so you've also talked about how he be agitated from the week and he would feel a lot of pressure from work. Did he talk about something on Fridays called Fuck It Friday?
yes.
What is Fuck It Friday?
It was when he just lets. It was when he just lets loose and just wants to party really hard. Mimi.
I'm sorry. And what was your impression of why he had what he called fucking Friday?
I think he just felt a lot of pressure from, I don't know, various things in his personal life. And then he would want to just party big on Fridays.
And you were pretty big with him too when you were with him, right?
Yes,
Okay. Do you remember that Miss Comey asked you on direct examination whether you ever carried drugs for Sean? Do you remember that?
yes,
And you answered twice, right?
yes,
1 second. Uh, and you said that you had spoken to KK over the phone about this.
yes.
I want to show you what has been marked as Defense Exhibit 3246. And this should be behind 246 in your binder. I hope that there's a 246 there. If not, we'll put it on the screen.
Okay, I can look on the screen.
Okay, if we could show both pages.
Right. Tell me when, if you could review it first, if you could read pages 1 and 2, tell me when you're done with that, and I'll move to the next 2 pages.
Okay,
All right. Next 2 pages. If you could review these 2 pages.
okay,
All right. Next two.
okay.
All right. And then just to make this easy, could you also look at what's marked as 3248? That also should be in your binder, but if not, we can bring it up on the screen.
Okay.
Pages.
Okay.
Okay. Do you recognize both 3246 and 3248 as chats between you and Christina Coram? Coram?
Yes.
Okay. Are these both from December of 2021?
Yes.
One is from December 2nd, right?
Yes.
And one is from December 30th.
Yes.
I need soda. I believe with the government's consent, we offer these, Your Honor, under seal, Your Honor, but no objection. Under seal.
Mimi. Mimi?
Hello?
Yeah. 1 second. I want to get a drink of water, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go to the first one, to 3246, please. If we could put both pages one and two. This is a chat between you and Miss Karam, December 2nd of 2021, and you or her are discussing flight options, right?
Yes.
All right, so if we could go to pages three and four. All right, so if you go down on page three, and Miss Karam says on conference call you back, right?
Yes.
And then you respond, hey, I'm in the car. I asked if he had something for me. He said no, right?
Right.
Okay, take that down, please. And she says, no, you have to go to Mapleton to get. LOL, security has it for you at Mapleton, right?
Right.
And you responded, OMG, okay. And she said, that's why I said call me when you're close so security can run it out, right?
Right.
And she said, sorry, thought that was clear where I said house, right?
Right.
And you said, tell driver if you need to get it prior to getting me. And she said, LOL, no, excuse me, no, he can't, right?
Right.
And then the next page. And she says, kind of personal, LOL, right?
Yes.
All right. Is this in reference to one of those times that you took transported the drugs from Mr. Combs?
Yes.
And in this message, you are not speaking on the phone with her, right?
Right.
Okay. And she's just saying it's kind of personal, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Could we go to 3248 under seal, already in evidence? Okay. And this message is from December 30th of 2021, right?
Yes.
And you reach out to KK and say, hey, babe, I was just trying to get a hold of Sean. It's a little bit time sensitive. Would you mind telling him to give me a call? Thanks so much, babe.
Yes.
And she says, hi, yes, I'll tell him text now, right?
Yes.
At the next page, she says at the top of the page, also, think he's going to have you pick up a package before as well. So plan extra time for picking that up. LOL, right?
Yes.
And say, copy. LOL. Yep, got it. If he wants, he can drop it off at my building as well if that's any easier. Maybe place in a shoebox or something. My front desk can hold it for me. Just an option, right?
Yes.
And Miss Karan responds, PD talks to him directly. I don't speak with him, right?
Yes.
And that's in reference. Is this in reference to the drugs that you were taking to Miami?
Yes.
And she says, no. And then you say, okay, got it, right?
Yes.
So in that instance, you guys are not talking on the phone together. right?
There was a conversation over the phone around one of these times.
There was conversation over the phone.
Yes,
Okay. Can I like to pull up for the witness only. Well, first, can we put that back up? Do you see that Miss Karam's phone number is in 2886?
yes,
Okay. And you see your phone number, right?
yes.
Okay. I like to offer, I believe, with the consent of the government. No. Miss Johnson will correct me if I'm wrong. 3313A into evidence. Your Honor, I think we've had some ongoing discussion about that exhibit. If we could have the lunch break to work those out before they come in, I think we could end up not objecting. Okay, so then I'll just show it to the witness just to refresh right now, Your Honor.
All right.
If we could pull up just for the witness 3313A, both pages side by side, please. And you said you remember having conversations in between.
Yes.
All right. So showing you to refresh your recollection, your records from your phone numbers we were just looking at. Objection, Your Honor.
That's sustained.
Okay, if we could please look on page 2 and if we could zoom in. And please tell me whether this refreshes your recollection as to whether you had any phone calls with Miss Karam's number after that.
What is the last four of her number?
2886.
I see one on December the 1st at 6:15 p.m.
But so does that refresh your recollection if you had a call with her on December 1st?
Yes, it says the duration was 1 minute.
Okay, and then if we could go,
And also, hold on,
this isn't in evidence, so
hold on.
go ahead.
Oh, Mrs. Garicos, I think this is going to be easier if you could have the discussion with the government and use it in a different way, unless you want to take it down and ask some questions.
All right. Is it your testimony, Jane, that you spoke with Miss Karam on the phone after one of these messages?
Yes.
Okay, we will come back to that.
Okay, we could have a sidebar and address it.
Let's just do that, Your Honor. I think it would be easier. Do you want to skip the sidebar and go back?
Yeah, we can skip
Okay.
the sidebar.
Yes, ma'am. All right, that's 5413.
5413.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You ready?
Uh-huh.
All right. You testify on direct that you remember discussing this with KK over the phone, right?
Wait, what line you on?
Line. So you'll be at line 6.
Okay. All right. All right. Yes.
And you testify that you asked KK whether it was okay, right?
Yes.
And why would KK know whether this is okay or not?
Because she was asking me to do it. And so I just asked if it was okay to put it in my luggage like that.
Okay, can we bring up 3248 again? That is in evidence. And if we could go both pages, please. Okay, so she says on page 2, also think he's going to have you pick up a package before as well, right? Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me? Hello? 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 Oh, you can hear me. All right, all right. So it's not me. Oh, she must have went off. I guess. Thank you, y'all.
Mimi, you can hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, I got kicked off.
All right. Uh, okay. Mm,
You
oh,
s-
where was he at?
okay, go ahead.
Was we on line 13
Mm-hmm.
or 15? Okay. So she says on page 2, also think he's going to have you pick up a package before as well, right?
Yes.
So she's not asking you to do it here, right? She says he's going to have you pick up a package before as well, right?
Yes. She.
And she says plan extra travel time for picking that up, right?
Yes.
So her assertion was to plan extra travel time, right?
Yes. For me to pick up a package for Sean.
And then you respond, got it, copy, LOL. You got it. If he wants, he can drop it off at my building as well if that's any easier, right?
Yes.
That was about him, meaning Mr. Combs.
Yes.
Okay, if we could unzoom.
Actually, no. I think if he wants, he can drop it off at my building as well. He's going to have, I'm not sure there if I'm talking to Mr. Combs or security.
Okay, and KK says PD talks to him directly. I did not speak with him, right?
Yes, she said that.
Okay, and you said on direct examination that KK said, it's fine, I do it all the time, just put it in your check-in luggage, right?
Yes.
Miss Karam, when she travels with Mr. Combs, she travels on his private plane, right?
Yes.
She's not traveling commercially, right?
I don't really know.
When she travels with Mr. Combs, she travels on his private plane, right?
I think so. I don't really know her travel.
Were you and Miss Karam close or no?
No.
We've seen a lot of text messages between the two of you, right?
Yes.
Objection.
Overruled.
But you and Miss Karan would text more than you would talk on the phone, right?
I would say yeah. And then sometimes talk, but more so text.
There were times over the 3.5 year relationship, of course, that you guys spoke on the phone, right?
Yes.
But generally, you and her were not close, right?
Right.
Okay. And fair to say that that was the point of contention for you, right?
Yes.
Because can you explain why?
She didn't like me.
And that was hard because Miss Karan was always with Mr. Combs, right?
Yes.
And so if Miss Karan didn't like you, you thought that would be difficult for your relationship with your lover and your partner.
It was difficult for our relationship. Yes.
Okay. And can you explain a little bit why that was?
I believe that she had a very strong opinion about me, which influenced a great deal of how Sean also treated me.
Okay. We talked a lot on direct examination about the entertainers. And you said that in the beginning, Mr. Combs would find entertainers from Cowboys for Angels, right?
Yes.
And that's how he found Don, from your understanding, right?
Later on in our relationship, I realized that Sean was always saying Cowboys, and then he said that Don was from Cowboys, like later on in the relationship.
Okay. And do you remember saying that you found Don to be handsome?
I did.
We looked at a photo of him. Would you say he's much more handsome in person?
Yes.
What kind of features about him that made him handsome to you?
He had blue eyes or green eyes.
And Paul, you said that Paul was gentle and that you had chemistry with him, right?
Yes,
And there was a warm energy about Paul that you liked, right?
yes.
And over time, you really took a liking to Paul, right? As a friend.
Given my circumstances, I found Paul. I don't know what the word is. If I had to do what I had to do, at least there was somebody that I had a warm energy about them to do this with.
You talked yesterday on Direct about the time in July of 2024 where you were in Miami, right?
Yes,
And you said, I miss Paul, right?
yes,
And so you guys called Paul to come over to Miami, right?
yes,
And you genuinely missed him, right?
I did.
And I think you testified yesterday that after that time that Paul came over, you said it was an unbelievable sexual experience, right?
At that time, I had consumed a lot of ecstasy, and then I was introduced to a new liquid, Molly. And so a lot of heightened emotions and sexual energy definitely entered that whole experience.
And that experience really you held good feelings about that experience, right?
Yes,
And I think you testified that you made love to Paul
yes,
that day, right?
yes.
Do you remember what was the nickname that you, Paul, and Mr. Combs had for each other?
Trifecta.
Can you explain that?
Trifecta. I don't even know because it's three. And I think Sean was the one who said trifecta. And then it became trifecta.
Would you compare um, would you compare yourselves to sports stars?
Yes.
Who?
Kobe Bryant.
Who was Kobe?
Me.
Okay, okay. And who was Paul?
Paul was, I forgot, Shaq.
The Lakers help you the Lakers help you a little?
Yeah, Shaq.
Shaq. Okay. And who was Mr. Combs?
Jordan. This is
Oh,
crazy.
yeah. Okay. Michael Jordan.
Yeah, MJ.
Do you remember during your experience with Paul or when you would speak to Paul that you would call him your boyfriend?
Playfully.
Playfully, flirtatious, like call him your boyfriend. Not that he was your actual boyfriend, but playfully, you would call him that.
In some instances, I would playfully say him these things.
Okay. And you called him and Mr. Combs during these nights and on these videos your boys, right?
Once yeah, sure, yes,
Do you remember telling Paul that you were happy you got to explore your sexuality with him?
yes,
And was Paul really nice to you?
yes, he was nice to me.
And you really did like him as a person, right?
I did.
And then you testified on Direct that you wanted to have more control over your situation so you would find other entertainers to bring in, right? Objection.
Just rephrase the question.
Do you remember testifying on direct examination that you wanted to have more control over the situation?
Yes,
Okay. And so for the first way that you and okay, and so the first way you testified that you exerted that control was DMing Cabral, right?
wait a minute. Okay, yes,
Okay. So you and just tell me if I'm wrong about any of this, but that you and Mr. Combs were watching Cabral on Black. Is that right?
yes,
And Black is a porn site.
yes,
And that you DM'd him after you started watching him, right?
yes.
Okay. So can you explain how that came about?
I remember it was just put on the free play. And then we saw a video that we liked and we kept watching the specific actor in that video and kept watching more of that actor's video. And that's how we found the page, that personal page.
You kept watching more and more of that pornography, and you guys both liked it.
Yes.
Okay. And so then you went on your Instagram and you found him on Instagram.
With the encouragement of my partner, yes.
Mr. Combs was right next to you, right?
Yes.
And what was he saying that was encouraging?
Can you get that dick? Do you think you can get that? Do you like that dick? Hit up that dick.
And you DM'd him on Instagram.
Yes.
That's a bold move, right?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustain.
When you DM somebody on Instagram, is that a private message?
Is it a private message?
When you DM somebody on Instagram, can that person screenshot the DM?
Yes, they can.
Okay. And was it your idea when you said on direct examination, it was your idea to DM him, right?
Given the context of what was happening in my relationship, yes. Yes, I decided
Why?
to DM this person.
So at that time in your relationship, this was about, does October 2021 sound right?
Yes.
Okay. So at that time, it had been about 5 months of other entertainers, right?
Yes.
And so then you were alone with Mr. Combs, right?
Yes.
And you were both watching his pornography.
Yes.
And then you had the idea to DM Cabral, right?
Yes.
And because I think you said on direct that this was the context of your relationship and you were going to choose who the entertainers were, right?
Yes.
And so you sent Cabral a DM yourself with the encouragement you said of Mr. Combs, right?
Yes.
Okay. And he did not ask you to reach out to him, right? He was encouraging it, right?
He was encouraging that.
Okay. And do you remember telling the government that Mr. Combs was surprised and really happy because he had never had a girl pick the guy before, right?
Right.
And was that in the moment that he was telling you he was happy? Or when did you learn that?
I think when it was actually a reality.
Okay. And you also testified on direct that the first time Cabral came, you can't remember exchanging any money, right?
I can't remember.
Okay. And the first time he came, you told Combs that you were bringing somebody from Atlanta, right?
Not just that vaguely, no.
Okay. On Cabral, I think yesterday you talked about a time where he was texting you and he sold a tape to a media company, right?
Yes.
Mr. Combs was really upset about that, right?
Yeah.
He was adamant that you should call the police, I think you said.
Yes.
And he told you he was so sorry that this happened.
Yes.
And he did not want this tape released, right?
Right.
He was livid and pissed.
Yes.
And he was trying to figure out how to make sure that it doesn't get released, right?
Yes.
And so then you spoke, and I don't want to know that what you talked about, but you spoke to an attorney about this.
Yes.
And then you made the decision that you were going to ignore the extortionate threats Cabral was making, right?
Yes.
And when Cabral did end up selling the tape to the media company, Combs was really angry, right?
Yes.
He didn't want this, from your perspective, he didn't want you to have to go through this, right?
Right.
And he did not want this out about himself either, right?
Right.
And then we talked, shifting gears, that you have reached out to Cabral and then you talked about Antoine. Do you remember approximately what time you reached out to Antoine?
I don't remember. Approximately,
Would you say approximately 2022?
I would say 2022.
Okay. So after it had been many months of Cabral, you then found Antoine.
Yes.
And did you find Antoine the same way through the same black porn site?
Yes.
And how often has you been, you and Mr. Combs, if at all, you and Mr. Combs been watching Antoine before you reached out to him?
I think it was like a whole night of watching this actor's films.
Okay. And then you reached out to him on Instagram as well.
Yes.
Did you grow to have a nice personal relationship with Antoine also?
And like, yeah, and like a friendly just these nights type of way.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And I think you said Antoine never traveled, that he would meet up with you and Mr. Combs only in Los Angeles, right?
Right.
And the first time I think that you FaceTime Antoine, first time you started talking to Antoine, you FaceTimed him, right?
Yes.
And was that a screen share the same way it was with Cabral as well?
I believe so.
Was that something you perceived made Mr. Combs really happy?
Yes.
And so then you made arrangements to meet Antoine for the first time as well after that FaceTime, right?
Yes.
All right. You talked also on direct about often a lot about Mr. Combs' assistants. You talked about Jonathan, Brendan, right?
Yes.
And then you talked about security. You talked about J9 and Fahim and some others, right?
Yes.
And you said that at times they would bring cash to Mr. Combs at the hotel, right?
Right.
Did they ever, from your perspective, did they ever see any of the entertainers?
I don't think they did. No.
How did they, from what you saw, how did they give Mr. Combs cash?
They would just come to the door with a bag.
And he would take it, or would you take it?
He would take it.
Okay.
And then they would leave, right?
Yes.
And they would not come into the room from what you saw, right?
Right.
Okay. And to your knowledge, only if you know, would security be the ones, the employees of his who would keep track of the cash that he had and keeping it safe?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. And then when they came in, the escorts, or I mean the security or the assistants, you also weren't volunteering to them that an entertainer was there, right?
Right.
Because as you said earlier today, privacy was of utmost importance, right?
Yes.
And when you had assistants, I think you talked about how Jonathan and you, there was at least one instance where you and Jonathan got outfits after the concert or during the concert.
Yes.
And you didn't say this is because an entertainer is going to come to the hotel later, right?
Yes.
And to
Wait.
your
No.
and to your knowledge, did KK have any knowledge that escorts was joining the hotels?
I don't think so.
And you never talked to her about it, right?
No.
I want to bring up what's already in the evidence as A442-12. If we could go to page 8. Okay, so this is a message between you and Mr. Combs, right?
Yes.
All right. And then you, in this first message on the top, it seems to be a reply to Mr. Combs' message. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. And he says, yeah, I think the party could have been better. No fault of yours. And you say, the party could have been better. Really? Why? Right?
Yes.
And then Mr. Combs responds, okay, where? You find the place? I can't have KK know. Damn. Right?
Yes.
Do you remember telling the government that KK would disapprove of him partying at the time because he was trying to focus on his business and his album?
Yes.
Okay. And so he did not, you perceived that he did not want KK to know that he was partying, right?
Yes.
Okay, can you take that down? Do you remember yesterday we were talking about your December 2023 messages with KK after your fight with Mr. Combs?
Yes.
And you reached out to her because you felt she was really close with Mr. Combs, right?
Yes.
And you wanted her assurance that he was not going to release anything, right?
Yes.
And during that conversation, you understood, or she said, don't worry, nothing is going to happen, right?
Yes.
And you felt comforted by that, right?
Yes.
And did you feel better after she said that? That nothing was going to happen?
Yes.
And that nothing would be released?
Yes.
Okay. And then she said to you, just why don't you guys give each other space? Like, just please give each other space, right?
Yes.
Do you remember telling the government in previous meetings with them that during this phone conversation that she said she would ensure that he gave you space?
Yes.
And that she said to you also, I don't understand why you guys won't stop. This is why we're in the predicament right now we're in because he just won't stop.
Yes.
And that was because it was right after Cassie's lawsuit.
Right.
And that she said to you in that conversation, the best thing for you guys right now is to just stop talking for a while, right?
Yes.
And you said he actually listened to her because he gave you your space, right?
Yes.
And you were very appreciative of that, right?
Yes.
And then you went to Paris, I think you said, or Las Vegas,
Paris.
and you actually had some time away, some space,
Yes.
some time to yourself.
Yes.
And from your perspective, KK made sure that happened,
R-
right?
Oh, my bad.
Okay.
Yes. Miss Garicles, when you get a good spot, we'll take our lunch break.
Just three more questions. I didn't realize we were already at lunch. All right. So we talked a little bit about privacy and how you perceived Mr. Combs didn't want this out, right?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to bring up A442-11. If we could go to page 20, this is admitted. All right. This is a message between you and Mr. Combs on April 19th of 2023, right?
Yes.
And do you recall, because I believe you had looked at this with the government, that you guys are speaking about getting it in Airbnb, right?
Yes.
All right. And then he says, how do we know if there's no cameras?
Yes.
And you said, and you respond, there is, but we can have security cover them, right?
Right.
And if we could go to the next page, excuse me. And at the bottom, you say, I can't just say it's my anniversary. I can just say it's my anniversary and we just want to cover cameras so we can feel comfortable. LOL. We can have security go in first and do a sweep, right?
Yes.
And that was because he did not want anybody to know about this, right?
And also because I was really sick and tired of hotel rooms at this point.
So this is right when you were getting a house, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Your Honor, this is the perfect time for a break.
All right. Very good. Thank you. Members of the jury, we will take our lunch break and we will be back around 1:20.
Are we done or do she want us to continue?
I'm
Yes.
not sure.
It's 11 o'clock.
You think we should stop probably?
Yes, ma'am.
I know because my thing is about to go dead.
Oh, your computer.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I was getting ready to tell you to stop so I could plug it in, but we did a lot.
Yes, ma'am, we did.
They crazy though.
Oh, yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Wow, they
Mm,
are
mm, mm.
crazy.
Comparing herself to Kobe, Shaq, and Michael.
Out of all
Crazy.
people, like they that bad.
Exactly. Don't make no sense.
I try to keep a straight face. I am so sorry.
I'm sorry. And then when I heard you laugh, it automatically made me.
I couldn't believe it. How
Yes.
does she usually end it? Or
Mm. She you might want to call her. You want to call her?
let me see if she will answer. That is crazy. Hold on, okay? I'm gonna mute.
Okay. Thank you, you guys. Fact check TV. I don't see coercion either. Thank you.
She didn't answer. You try.
Okay, 1 second. I think we can just end the night. I mean, end it with the. Hold on, try.
Thanks, everybody.
Mm-mm. No, she didn't answer.
Okay, so if we just close it out, it'll just end.
Or see, I'm not sure. We can. I know once we close this part out, right? That's just live stream. I don't know if it would cut off the actual YouTube. Good
I
night. What you say?
I think if we close this, she'll see her YouTube and she'll turn it off when she gets up and see it. It's just this part, just closing this out is probably the most important part.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, we can do
All
that.
right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
All right.
Thank you for watching the infamous Sylvia channel, where laughter and fun make up our panel. Together we build this digital spree. We appreciate you and our growing family. With mods by our side and chat flowing free in this online space. It's just you and me, we laugh until tears roll down like the rain. In this virtual world, you ease all my pains. We're show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Minds in check, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We cherish the moments, the highs and lows, from the latest gossip to stories untold. You're more than a viewer, you're part of the crew in this space of ours. It's all because of you. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Minds in check, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Minds in check, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment